Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the post-game press conference of the FIBA Basketball World Cup Asian Qualifiers Window 1 game between the Philippines and Guam. Philippines winning 95-71. Now we have with us members of Team Guam. First part of our press conference, we have head coach EJ Calvo and player Jericho Cruz. This conference will be conducted in English, so for media, please ask your questions in English after introducing yourselves in the open session later. First off, Coach, your thoughts about that game.
I'd like to congratulate the Philippines on their victory. Two victories in this window. They're obviously a very talented team, a very deep team, well-coached team, and we wish them the best because those are our only two games we're going to play. I wish we could play them more often. Now, I know both of us are looking forward to the next challenges coming up. Obviously, before we move on, we'll look very closely at what we can improve on from these two games and learn from. We're excited about the future, even though sometimes you learn from a disappointing situation. So I think we're very grateful for the opportunity we had this week to play a very good team, and we're going to definitely come back stronger next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Coach. And now, Jericho, your thoughts about your game and the series against the Philippines.
Well, just like what Coach AJ said, we just want to congratulate the Gilas for winning the game, two games. But like for us, it was like a test of where we came from. Playing against the team, the Gilas team, they're playing as a complete team, and us were like we're. EJ's like, come here anytime you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we don't have the same physicality. How do you get it, Coach? The same group as the Gilas, but we did our best. We tried our best, and hopefully the next windows we'll do good. Yeah.
Thank you, Jericho, for your thoughts. Now we open the floor to questions from the media. You can just approach the mic if you have any questions. Again, we're opening the floor to any questions.
Good evening, Coach Calvo. Antti Servino from Bulgar Sports. I would just like to know what's the criteria for eligibility in choosing players to represent Guam, because we know Guam is not a country, it's part of the United States. So what's the criteria, or what are the limitations in selecting players, and in relation to that, how could you use this moving forward to build a better team?
Thank you for that question. That's a question I get quite often, especially from countries that didn't know never heard of Guam before. Like in the Asia Cup, many of the teams there wanted to learn more about the island of Guam. So Guam's a U.S. territory. 3 territories: Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And so as a U.S. territory, we are all U.S. citizens. However, you not only need to have a U.S. passport, like Jericho is a dual citizen, so he has a U.S. passport, but secondly, you have to be connected to the island of Guam. You have connection to country. And so the island of Guam has 150,000 people living in paradise on a small island of Guam, and it's beautiful. It's only 3.5 hours from the Philippines, and to me, the Philippines is like a second home for many of us. Because we have the tie to the U.S., we have most of our players that grow up on Guam or were born in Guam, or their parents, like Jericho, have a connection to Guam, leave, and they seek opportunity off the island in the U.S. mainland. We have a player in Japan, a player in the Philippines,
yep,
and many more. We have players from Guam playing in the UAAP now, and we're hoping that they continue growing and come back and represent Guam, because they have a choice when you're a dual citizen. So it's difficult. We have no naturalized players because we can't naturalize. Even if you get a U.S. passport, you have to have connection to Guam. It can't just be passport and play. So what we look for are talented players that have a connection. We develop our youth program, of course, and most of our players have come up through our youth program, our junior national teams, and I spend a lot of time working with the youth. Obviously, we have no professional leagues with 150,000 people living there. So we really have to develop players who are going to then leave the island and play abroad in college, like I did, like Jericho did, and some of my coaches who actually played here at Adamson.
Yeah.
I have an assistant coach that played at Adamson. Jericho played at Adamson and made a career here in the Philippines. So it's very unique, and that's why I enjoy answering the question, because it's very different from many other countries that have a different scouting, different recruiting system. We really have to understand the network of people connected to Guam wherever they are. We're trying to get better at casting our net like the Philippines does. A great job of finding talent everywhere. I think we will get better at that, and at the same time we'll build our program. It's been a great journey for me as a former player, moving into coaching about 13 years ago. And obviously I have a day job. This is just a passion for me, a hobby. And like many of our team, basketball is not our job. We do it for the love of the game and to represent Guam. So I hope that was a long answer, but I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Coach. One more question now for Jericho.
Jericho, good evening. Just like to know any difference playing against the likes of Scotty Thompson, Chris Newsom from the PBA compared at least in a FIBA sanctioned tournament?
Oh, well, for me, it's pretty much the same. It's just that we just have different teammates. But like when it comes to the court, it's a wartime for me, and I gotta roll with my boys, which is the Guam boys. So, but like you said, it doesn't change anything. Like it's been the same. Like playing him against like when I'm with San Miguel and he's with Ginebra, it's always the same. Same with CJ. Every time I play with CJ, Junmar, like how we practice, But when it comes like game time, it's war for me, But at the end of the day, I respect those guys. They played really good today, and I wish them the best of luck. They're coming conference.
MVP.
And thank you so much, Jericho. Thank you so much, Coach.
Can I say one more thing? I just want to make sure I invite everyone who doesn't know about Guam to visit Guam, learn about the island of Guam. We'd love to welcome more tourists to Guam. It's a beautiful paradise. I also think that sports tourism will be a great opportunity to work with the Philippines. I had a conversation with the commissioner about having it happened when I was a young man. I remember watching I think it was Shell and PBA teams have a regular season game in Guam. And I think you played in Dubai recently.
Yeah.
And I think that would be great to have more of that activity. It will help our basketball program and our tourism industry and our relationship with the Philippines. So I just wanted to extend that invitation for everyone to look out for Guam. Thank you.
And on that note,
The next
Jericho?
Lieutenant Governor, EJ.
we thank you for joining us here in the first part of our press conference. Safe travels home. We will be back for the next part of our press conference with the Philippines coming up next. Welcome to the second part of this press conference. We now have the Philippines with us, with head coach Tim Cone and player Dwight Ramos. First, Coach Tim, your thoughts about the game and the performance of your squad?
Well, we didn't play our best game tonight, especially from the defensive end. But bottom line was we took care of business, and this is what we talked about right from the very beginning, before we even started the first game, is that how crucial it was to win these two games. And whether it was a 1-point win or a 20-point win or a 40-point win, it really didn't matter except that we won. And so, you know, like I said, we took care of business. Now we're ready to move on and you know, bring New Zealand and Australia over and play them here at home in February. Well, it should be a great series of two games.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach Tim. Now, Dwight, your thoughts about the win?
Yeah, the same thing as Coach. I thought we started off really well, but after we had a big lead, we kind of relaxed a little bit, and Guam took advantage of that. Jericho and Simon were doing their thing, but we still were able to get the job done.
Thank you, Dwight. Now we open the floor to questions from the media.
Good evening, Coach. Ivan Swing from the Daily Tribune. Coach, you've been with Japet all these years in Ginebra and Gilas, so yeah, what does it feel like for you to see him play his final game in the national team?
Well, it just brings back the idea of how much he's contributed over the years. You know, thinking this was his last one, but he's played so many over the years. As I told him, you know, his wife, Cassie, when she sees my wife, she always tells my wife, you know, can you please allow Japet to retire so that he can spend more time with his kids and focus on his Ginebra career? And I keep saying no. And I've said no for the last 2 or 3 years. And but with Kai coming back, hopefully you know, in February, there's a chance that now, you know, we can let Japet retire. But the bottom, also, if he's still on call, you know, if something happens to one of our bigs, and we need another big to step in, we will continue to call him, because he's a freak of nature. You know, at 38 years old, he still jumps out of the gym. He still plays at an extremely high level. You know, he knows that if we need him, he'll come back and help us out. But for now, he's ready to retire. He's going to be like Muhammad Ali, maybe. Come back, retire, and come back, retire. Who knows?
Thank you, Coach. More questions from the media?
Coach, congratulations. Coach, now you hurdled this 2 games against Guam. You're going to have a big test in February with Australia and New Zealand, both at home. Just your thoughts on, you know, looking forward to those 2 games.
Well, it's a long ways away still, but you know, we have our eyes on it. You know, we know New Zealand pretty well. We played them a number of times. We played Australia in the Asia Cup. We know what's ahead of us. We know it's not going to be easy, but we're hoping that, you know, playing at home, that'll make a difference for us. And you know, tonight was a little difficult because, you know, we beat them by a large margin there in Guam. We knew they were going to come back and play with a level of desperation, and that's a given. And they played really, really well tonight, and we just all we did was kind of hold them off. But I just want to give credit to Guam too, and the coach EJ Calvo and all the things that they have done. Amazing job. And for him to come in here after a 40-point loss and play the way they did tonight, they showed a lot of character. And I just hope we can continue to show that kind of character as we move forward.
Thank you, Coach. We now have a question from Sir Tip.
Coach, over here. Coach, congratulations. Just like to ask your thoughts on the officiating tonight. Both teams combined to shoot, you know, over close to 60 free throws each. Were the calls a little too tight for your liking, or you expected that?
Honestly, I didn't even think about the refereeing tonight. You know, I didn't see any bad calls. They called it a little tight at times, and you know that's going to vary from game to game how they play, how some referees call it, some others don't. Truly, I didn't give any thought to the refereeing tonight. We were just trying to focus on winning the games, and I think if you do focus on the referees, that just distracts you from what you need to do out there. So other people can complain, you know, they can look at it the way they want to look at it, but really for us and our staff, coaching staff, and even how we try to impress on the players, referees we can't control that, so control what you can control, and that's your performance.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, any update on Scotty? I think he
we don't know. You know, that's always the next day kind of injury. He definitely sprained his ankle, not a first degree, maybe a second or third degree. You know, we have until the 10th of December to get him ready to play, and hopefully he'll be ready, because that's one guy we can't lose at Ginebra, obviously. But that's just a sacrifice you make as you know, playing for the national team. CJ went down and had a bad ankle sprain. Calvin got injured in the Asia Cup. You know, it's just part of it, and you hope it doesn't happen. But that, again, that's the sacrifice you make playing for the national team, and because you're going to be playing against physical guys and big bodies, and there's a good chance you might get hurt at some point.
Thank you, Coach. One last round of questions.
Coach, what is your assessment on the first two games of QMB, and to Dwight, how is it playing with QMB on the court?
Go ahead.
QMB is my roommate too, so we got close. And you know, I love the way he plays. He's not scared to challenge shots, and he's, you know, physical down there in the paint. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again and his improvement.
Well, you know, I agree with that. He's just scratching the surface of his ability to help us. I mean, we're still exploring his game. He's exploring his game within the system. There's a lot more levels for him to go, but, you know, the initial look is that, you know, he's just what the doctor ordered. You know, he's that weak side big man that can, you know, he's a really strong defender. He battled Wesley really well, then went around and battled Galloway really well. And those guys are high-level players. And then he got to the offensive boards, he ran the floor. You know, he's just a very active big. And again, that's just what the doctor ordered for us.
Any more questions? And if there are no more questions, that is where we will end things here in this press conference. Again, congratulations to Gilas Pilipinas. Thank you, Dwight Ramos. Thank you, Coach Tim Cohn. And we'll see you again for the second window of the FIBA Basketball World Cup Asian Qualifiers.